Hello and greetings from Colorado Springs. My name is Lance Kohler and I'm the broker owner of the Cornerstone Real Estate Team. What I'd like to talk to you about today are 9 tips for independent rental owners or do-it-yourself landlords. The first tip we'd like to provide is that you don't rent to anyone or accept any new tenants into your property until you've properly screened them. The goal in renting your property is to find a tenant who is going to pay rent on time every month and take good care of your property. A tenant should have a history of that. We recommend at a minimum that you review the tenant's credit history, you do a background check, and you check their references. You may also want to do a criminal check, possibly confirm their employment, and do a sexual predator check. Those are the 5 checks that we do here at Cornerstone. Secondly, want to make sure you have written agreements. While you are able and it's legal to rent a property with a verbal agreement, we don't recommend it. So you should have everything written down in your lease, and that way it's clear who's responsible for what responsibilities fall to the owner and fall to the tenant, and have that lease that's written down, have your written lease signed by both parties. Thirdly, security deposit accounting. So there are 2 pieces to this. One is accounting for the security deposit that the tenant has provided you. That is the tenant's money, and you as the independent rental owner are responsible to return that or account for it at the end of the lease to the tenant. Those funds are to ensure completion of the legal contract that you have with the tenant, and therefore you can't spend that, or you're not supposed to spend that on repairs or any other expenses during the course of the tenancy. Those are tenant funds and you're supposed to hold them as such. Second part of that is accounting for the security deposit at the end of your lease. Most states and localities have requirements on the time frame that you have to return the security deposit to a tenant. For example, in Colorado, you have 30 days to provide the security deposit and an accounting of any funds that you use to the tenant. If your lease specifies, you can have a longer time frame, up to 60 days to do that. Repairs and upkeep. So you may have heard the phrase, a stitch in time saves 9, and that's what we recommend for your rental property as well. So taking care of those smaller repairs as soon as you identify them could prevent you from paying for a larger repair or more expensive repair further down the road. Secondly, the better you keep up your property, the better condition that your property is in will bring you a higher quality tenant, and will likely mean that you can collect more rent for that same property. Insurance. Once again, there's 2 pieces to this. So if you're a owner and you're moving out of your home and you're going to rent that home now, right now you have homeowners insurance, which insures the property and everything in it. You'll want to notify your insurance company that you're moving from that property, and that property is going to be a rental, and you'll typically get what is called a landlord policy or something similar. And what that means is you are insuring the structure, but not the belongings inside it. The structure is yours, the belongings inside will belong to the tenant, and the tenant should have their own insurance to protect their belongings. The second piece of that is, with a rental property, you're running a business. You should look at your income property, your rental property, as a business and treat it as such. And as a business, you should have liability insurance to protect your business against someone who gets injured, or something bad that happens at your property. We also recommend that you maintain a property reserve, and whether those are funds that you set aside at the beginning when you transition or buy that rental property, or if it's money that you set aside each month from the proceeds, you need to have a reserve so that you can pay for any unexpected expenses or any high dollar items. If you have a hot water heater or a furnace or an AC unit or a roof, any of those need replaced. Those are expensive repairs, and so you should have funds set aside for that. Security. So security can be a number of things, but you want the tenants to feel safe in your property. So that may be that you provide some additional exterior lighting. It may be that you make sure that all the windows have locks that function. And it may be as simple as doing some landscaping and trimming the hedges and trees in the front or back of the property. The eighth tip is to provide notice. So you as a rental owner, you own the property, the tenant has possession of the property and has the right to quiet enjoyment. What we don't recommend is that you drop by the property at random times and random times a day and without providing the tenants any notice. We recommend you address it in your lease, but you should provide the tenant reasonable notice, and if you're going to come by and check on the property, you should provide them reasonable notice, and it should be at a reasonable hour of the day, something that you coordinate likely with the tenant. And lastly, we recommend you disclose any environmental hazards. So if you know that there's an environmental hazard, you should certainly let the tenants know. An example would be in Colorado. If a property is built before 1978, there is a potential that there is lead-based paint in the property. And so in Colorado, an owner would be required to notify the tenants of that fact before they sign the lease. And so you're notifying them, you're disclosing that there's a potential of an environmental hazard in the property. We post articles and information similar to this video, designed to educate and inform independent rental owners and do-it-yourself landlords. We put those on our social media accounts, so if this was of value to you, and I hope it was, please like and follow us on our Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter accounts. I appreciate your time. Thank you. Have a great day.